to be painting this painting with you today. We've got the red vintage truck with the Christmas tree on the back. Let's get started. Hi, thanks for joining me. I've got paper towels ready. I've got water, fresh water, and my paints. I tend to use Deco Art paint, and I will tell you the colors that I use as we move along. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little square brush, which I really like. I get them on Amazon, to do the background. And the background's a mixture of gray, and we've got some blue. It's a baby blue, just a light gray color, slate gray, and white. So I'm just going to be mixing those colors to make it look. I've got some white and blue on here, and I like to turn my brush as I'm painting. So I have a variety of color on the sky, because skies aren't really all one color. And it's a snowy day. So we're going to paint the sky with a little bit of gray because it's not a sunny day. It's Christmas time. So let's get this painted in quickly. I love this little brush. It's just really fun, and I get them on Amazon, but you could probably get them at Hobby Lobby or any craft store, Michael's. I will put a link for the Amazon brushes if you'd like. You can look at the link. And I'm just painting some blue in there and white and gray. As you see, I'm just mixing the colors on the canvas, not on the palette. I have a plate for a palette here. Here's all our colors. I'll go let you know what they are as we get to them. And I prefer to mix on the canvas because it gives you a variety of color. Now skies, as you come down towards the horizon, they tend to get lighter, so I'm adding some white as we're getting lighter. If you look outside, you'll notice that even on a cold day, the sky looks lighter at the horizon point where the sky meets the land. So I've got it going a little lighter there. And then we've got the ground that the truck is on. I'm going to clean off my brush, and we're going to paint that gray. I cleaned it off and then I dried it with the paper towel. You don't want your brush to be totally wet. And once again, I'm adding a little bit of white to the gray instead of just putting gray. I'm putting my brush in gray first, and then I'm adding white. And we're just going to paint here, get this background in. This is still part of the background. This brush is great because it really lets you cover a lot of coverage quickly. Now, if you want, you can hit pause and catch up with me if I'm painting too quickly. I just don't want you to get bored. Okay, let's see, we'll go like this and add a little more gray. And let's go around the tire. We're going to add some snow afterwards, so you don't have to worry too much about how neat this is, because we will put some snow on the ground. Okay, so we've got the background laid in, and we're ready to go in 2 seconds. Here we go. There, we've got the background, the sky and the ground. Now I'm going to use this brush. It's a round brush and it's a number 12. I once again got this at Hobby Lobby also. I just like to use the less expensive brushes for acrylic paint. I use different brushes for watercolor. Okay, and we're doing red, a red paint. I like the Santa red. There's Tuscan reds and other reds you can use. Just see what you can get. And like I said, I do like the Deco Art paint for these paintings, and we're going to do red in here. Turn this a little. And this is a vintage truck, so it's not going to be all bright red, and I'll show you how I'm going to add a little bit of black to the red after we get the red put in, okay? So let's just put the first coat of red down. Now red paint is a little transparent always, not sure why. So one coat is usually not sufficient. So we will come back and do another coat after this one dries. It's much easier to put a second coat than to try to put tons of paint on the painting as you're doing it. It just looks better if you let it dry and come back with a second coat. So here we go. Let's just put our first coat down. Painting is so much fun. You can just don't worry about it. Just have fun painting. The good thing about acrylic, if you do make a mistake and you go, oh my gosh, I don't like that, let it dry and go over it with another color or whatever you want. This truck, by the way, sometimes I do paint it blue because I've seen a lot of blue vintage trucks as well as red ones. Okay, so we're just gonna paint that, finish painting that. And we'll come back later and add a little black when we put in the second coat of red so that you'll see there's some dimension. And that's good enough for now. Now let's work on the tree. And I've got two colors of green here. I have a holly green and a dark green. Okay, so the dark green is, that's forest green. Here it is. I'm shaking it up a little because the one I put on the plate looks a little watery. So make sure you shake your paints before you use them. I'm gonna start with the darker green and we're gonna just start at the top of the tree. And I have the point of the brush for the point of the tree. I'm just gonna come down and just I'm not really following my lines that I drew, which is fine because the tree is kind of blowing in the wind. I just want to be careful here that I don't have it go over the truck. So I'm gonna paint a line this way. I hold my brush a little close to the bristles. Some people hold it far away. You'll find the way you want to hold it as you go along painting. I like to have a little more control when I'm getting close here. Okay, dark green. And now I think I'll hold it farther away so I can just have more fun with it. There we go. Okay, let's wash off the brush and dry it and get some of the light green and just kind of put some of that in here for some texture, some light green. So the dark green is like the shadow, then we've got light green in here. I always like using more than one color. It just adds a lot of texture. Okay, let's let that dry. Okay, so what I've started doing with the truck, we're gonna be adding more red for the second coat. But what I've done is I've mixed some red with black, little tiny bit of black with the red. So I've got kind of a maroon color because what we need to do is we need to add some dimension to this truck. We don't want it to be flat red. So we're adding some shadows and I'm just coming around the edges with that color. It's not really dark black, of course. And it's not a bright red, but we're gonna come around where the shadows are And to give some dimension to this truck, we're just coming around. You can use a smaller brush. I like the point of the big brush, so I tend to stick with it. But it's up to you which you're more comfortable with. And I'm coming around the window. By the way, the window, when you did the background, I had forgotten to do the window because you can see through the truck to the sky. So I just put it in. So when you have a minute, go back and add the gray and white in there. Sorry about that. I always forget something, but we just go back and fix it. And anytime you make any sort of error with acrylic, let it dry, and then you can go back and paint over it. But don't try to paint over it while it's wet, because then it just makes a big mess. So I'm coming over here. I've made the different shadows. We've got the bumpers, and my red's a little wet right there, so it's kind of blending already, which is just fine. I don't mind it blending. I'm gonna actually come back and blend it a little bit more once I get these shadows in, because I like it to look blended rather than lines. So let's just come along here and get a little more black. Once again, I took a drop of black and I'm mixing it with the red because otherwise it's gonna be way too dark. So I'm just pulling the red onto the little bit of black. Okay, and then we'll come over here and bring this down. And let's go here and across here. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, let's see, we've got another line there. I'm gonna come in, clean my brush, dry it really nice, okay? I think it's pretty clean. Give the point back. And let's come back into the red, just the red alone. And let's try to add more red to this truck. And you can go over that black a little if you don't want it to look quite so harsh. Like here, I can go over it a little and blend it. It's amazing what a second coat of red does. It really helps it out a lot. You can even put a third coat later if you'd like. I'm just gonna put 2 for now. Now another thing is, I'm right-handed, so I usually start with the left-hand corner and move down, because a lot of times I like to put my hand on the canvas, especially if I'm doing details. So this way I know that part of the canvas is dry if I'm working up here. So if you're right-handed, you start at the left top corner. If you're left-handed, start at the right top corner. It's just a little thing that tends to work well, especially if you're working with watercolor. And I will be doing some watercolor painting with you in the near future. I love watercolor. I've been painting with watercolor for over 25 years, and it's just so much fun. But I also love teaching paint parties. And if you're interested in really taking your paint parties to the next level and teaching them professionally, I am with a company called Paint Party Headquarters, and I will put their link on down below. They're wonderful. You will learn so much about how to run a paint party business. It's Texas Art and Soul. And a lot of these paintings you see are through Texas Art and Soul, Paint Party Headquarters, and the reason they allow me to use them is because I am a paid member. I pay every month to be a member. If I was not a member, I would not be allowed to use their paintings. So what I'm going to do now is I would like to do a little more of the black, and I kind of want to blend it a little more. So with that red paint being wet, I'm able to really blend this even more, which I like to do. we've got a handle here. Okay, a little more black in here, just to blend. I do have to put the door handle, so let me get a little more black. Put the door handle right there. Okay, so let's just do a little more of that. Blend it up here. And down here. So when the paints are wet, it's really easy to blend them together. And I think that looks pretty good for an old truck. All right, a little bit of red here. All right, okay. Next step, right now I'm going to work on the tires, and they're black. So I've got my brush, I cleaned it off again, dried it, and I've got to paint these black, just pure black. And I like to turn this a little while I'm doing it. Makes it a little easier. I'm using the point of the brush for the round of the tire there. And we will get this one done. It's like almost as hard as doing a straight line, doing circles. Not sure why, but it is. This tire is going to be in the snow, so it's okay if it's not perfect at the bottom. And we're just going to keep that little circle in the middle. One tire. And let's do the other one. Now what you might want to do, just take your time with this. I'm tending to paint a little faster so that I don't have this video go on for 5 hours. But you can take your time, just hit pause, take your time painting this so it will be neater than the way I'm painting it. All right, and we've got the there. We'll paint that gray in a second. Okay, let's just add a little white. Let's put some gray right in the middle. Okay. And it's okay if it mixes with the black a little. All right, gray. I didn't even clean the brush. I just dipped it in the gray paint, even though there's black on it. That's fine, okay? There we go. So we've got the tires done. If you notice, I didn't do that little bit there. It's okay. We're gonna put snow on the ground. Before we work on the snow, we've got some yellow, pretty yellow. I like this one, the cadmium yellow hue. And we are going to add some yellow lights in the front here, just right there. And we're gonna add some yellow to brighten up the tree a little. So let's just add some little streaks of yellow in here. Now if you notice, I'm taking the brush strokes the way the tree would be falling. So I'm going this way because the tree's limbs are going that way, and then this part of the tree is going that way. Okay, and we just wanted to add some there. So now we're gonna work with white. Let's clean off our brush. We gotta add snow. This is the fun part. We're gonna do dots of snow. We're gonna put snow on the tree because it's catching the snow here. So we're gonna put snow on the edges here. And the truck is going to catch some snow here along the truck. We've got snow up here. It's fallen on the truck. And a little bit here. And we're also adding highlights. Highlights just kind of make a painting sparkle a little more. I'm adding some highlights there, highlights on top here and snow. Some highlights here, and up here I've got some. I've got highlights here. People say, well, where do you put highlights? You can really put them, think of where the sun is shining, if there is sun, or where the light might be coming through, and just kind of add some highlights along there. And they just tend to add a lot of sparkle. That's what I like to call it, sparkle. So we've got to add some snow here on the ground. So I've got a lot of white I'm putting on my brush, just loading it up with white, and I'm just going to be adding snow. And let's add a bunch of snow here, because it's a snowy road. I'm going to wait till that dries before I hit the tires with the snow. So I'm going to wait till that dries a little more. If you have glitter paint, that looks really pretty also, that you can add when you're done. Okay. All right, now I'm going to do just dots of snow all over. So it looks like the snow is falling from the sky. Just dot, oh, see what I did? I got some green because the tree was not dry. So I'm going to take that off with a clean brush. Got a clean brush, and I'm going to wipe that off while it is still wet. Okay, got to catch it while it's wet. It's okay if there's a little green there with the tree, but I didn't want it on the sky. Okay, cleaned off this brush. Do it again. Got the point, and we're gonna do more dots. Snow dots here. I'm gonna stay away from the tree for a minute. Okay, let's try there. Dot, 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 dot. That's good. Right there. Okay, it looks pretty snowy. Now I'm going to add some snow here. And it is a little dirty, the snow, which is fine. That's where the tire is. And we're going to add some here on this side. And we are done. Good job.